In real life, problems are not as clean as maybe some textbook word problems where you get exactly the information you need. It's related to what you've already been solving for 20 minutes beforehand on a worksheet, and it's all nice and clean, right? And no, in real life, we get a ton of extra information. We get too much information. Most of it is not relevant or helpful to actually solving the problem. But that's really hard to deal with. The problem is when we get so much information, we often zoom in on the wrong information. So for example, with that Isle of Pakul problem, if you had just stopped, right, and when you did, when you sketched it out and whatnot, and thought about the fact that this is a sand-only island that's about a mile around, right, which isn't that much bigger than this right here, and in the middle is a 100-foot tower. Well, why would I need to ask any questions? I could just walk to the tower because it's going to be really obvious and I'll see it in the middle of this big sand island, right? But again, we look at the problem, we get caught up in reading the words, and we say, well, why is this information here if it's not relevant to solving the problem? That's what we do in real life. We get caught up all the time like that. So for example, right, this happens all the time. He said, she said, right? Some rumors go around and we get in a conflict with another person. And when we come to confront that person or talk to him about it, what we do is we talk about all these things that we heard that the other person said, or maybe they said years ago, or maybe they didn't even say it. We don't even know. But we focus on all this stuff over here on the perimeter that's actually the wrong stuff. Right? But it's really hard because we get all caught up in it. If we zoom out and look at the big picture, we kind of figure out, oh, okay, all this stuff over here, all this stuff over here actually has nothing to do with anything. And if we focus on it, it's actually going to cause more problems. We'll have more conflicts versus what happens right here in the middle where there is a little bit of information that is important for us to talk about. And usually that's going to be something like, hey, this is how you made me feel when the other person didn't realize, like they said it and I took it out of context or something like that. But there's usually very little, something in the middle that is actually helpful to the conversation. But if we don't get good at zooming out and seeing that all this other information isn't helpful, if we don't let ourselves stop getting focused on some little bit over here, then we have a lot of problems that we don't actually solve, that usually we actually make worse. So next step is for us to start practicing applying this idea of zooming out and seeing the big picture to problems we have in real life, and what are some things we can do to help us solve those problems.